Well, we've been doing these Maythorn Monthlies for 5 years, as I said last month, and I'm making some changes. So from this month, April, I'm only going to do a shorter Maythorn Monthly, and the features that I normally drop in, I'll just tell you about them and that they're out there, but I will put them out through the month as I get them done, rather than saving them all till the end of the month like I used to. I'd like to introduce you to some of the equipment that we're starting 2023 with. In fact, I bought this little thing in 2022 when we went to Australia, and I did actually show you some footage where my stepdaughter Colette took it into the surfing waves down on her local beach. Let's just fire this up, by the way. So that's the lens you're looking at there. The screen is on the other side. This is what she took into the sea, and there it was, filming underwater, because this is DJI's waterproof Action 2 camera. Now, these are modular, and on its own, that just films on an internal memory card, but if I get this the right way around, you clip it onto there, that's magnetic. It's now got extra battery in the base unit, so it'll last longer. It's got the ability to put an SD card in it, and it's also got a wireless transmitter so that you can actually have it monitored on an app. Now, if I start this recording, beep. Now, what I'm now filming is the camera that's filming me, and the reason I want you to see this is because this was the first camera that I had that did 4K back in 2016. It's the original Osmo. Now you'll see a wire coming out of it and a new gadget here, which I will put the action camera over. That is the wireless receiver, and if it's all working, then it's piping its sound into the old Osmo. So there you are, that's still going. Let me just turn this off again. Thank you. Oh, by the way, you can attach other magnetic things to this, and so I've got a tripod and a stand and a clamp and things like that, which just clamp onto there magnetically, and the magnetism is pretty strong. So it's a good job we still don't use tapes for our recording, because they'd all be erased.
For all that are searching for more than action, this is DJI Action 2.
Now, the microphone that I bought, I said we'd had a lot of trouble with microphones. The microphone I bought is this one. It's made by Rode. You'll see Rode advertised, well, not advertised, but sort of visible on BBC News and things like that, because the professionals do use Rode. Rode are Australian, so we didn't go to Australia to get these microphones. They were shipped over from Germany. Only DJI have something that's quite like this. Some people prefer the DJI because this is a bit shiny, and I'm sitting on camera and you can see it, and therefore it's got a dazzle of its own. It's got blue lights on it. But there is an app that you can get onto your laptop or your mobile phone and turn off or dim down the lights and things like that. So they're very controllable. You just plug them in via USB, and you've got a very controllable radio mic system. We'll be using this from now on. Now, you're looking at some footage that I took with the Action 2, and it's at the NEC in Birmingham. As you probably know, I'm a property person. I went to a home renovation show and had a look around there, and some interesting stuff we saw. Although I should have been looking at important things like the render I'm going to use on my house and the special building materials like SIPs that are now the popular thing. I tended to look at a few other things like cabins for the garden, which I don't have anymore. And also there was this fantastic double-decker home you can tow around and put on sites in various places. It was 2 bedrooms and a living room and a kitchen. I did sneak in with the camera and have a quick look around before I went on my way. Now, the trouble that I've been having with the other radio microphones that we've had, and other sound recorders as well, one of them has been a battery compartment problem where the lid on the battery compartment has broken, the catch is broken, not cheaply repairable. So I ended up putting a tie wrap round it to hold it in place. That isn't perfect either. Then there was the wind noise we were getting last month, and I know it's March winds, April showers, May flowers, but the winds were getting into our microphones no end last month, and that was because of these little devices which prevent that. This is the one from the DJI pocket transmitter, and it's supposed to be held onto the microphone by magnetism, I believe. The magnet seems to have disappeared. Looked into the transmitter and the mic unit, couldn't find a magnet anywhere, so it must have fallen out at some point, and that's why I've got this. Now the microphone I'm wearing, let me just get hold of another one because there are two of these. It has one of these on, but it's a twist and lock system, so that's how you put it on, and it just doesn't shake off. So I can assure you of that. I'm not going to do all the shake, rattle and roll right now. What I am going to show you is, you can probably see I'm sitting in my living room, and this is one of those sort of laptop tables you can swing round, or hospital bed tables if you happen to have been there. And this is a recliner which I use when I'm sitting here editing. Just roll that out the way. So there's a little lever here that I can just recline and probably kick the Osmo camera off with the table it's on. So let's not do that. But I'm going to show you something. This recliner I bought from Argos 2.5 years ago. It's one of the Habitat ones when they took over Habitat, and already, I'm going to get out of the way, it's worn out here and here on the seat, which is pretty bad news. I know it's not leather, I know it was only plastic, but we've got chairs in this living room that have been bought from places like IKEA and Furniture Village that are 15 or 20 years old, maybe more, and they're still fine. So not so happy with this, but I can't even give it to a charity shop because they don't take anything with marks and tears and things. This is going to have to go to the tip. What can I say? It's sad. Beep, 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 yeah! This was our transport in Bulgaria, and Colin was driving the hire car, and the company wanted some selfies with their vehicle, so I was on duty with my camera, and then a little distracted by the larder parked alongside us here in Orish. I had a lot of larders in my early days, and here's one of them. I had saloons and estates. The great thing about these cars was that they had a starting handle. Most people won't remember starting handles, but if the engine won't start because the battery's flat, you can absolutely do yourself an injury by cranking up a handle. This month I want to look at transport integration and the lack of it. This was Gosport from last month, and how the bus station is right by the ferry terminal. This is of course Chichester, where the railway station is right by the bus station. And this is Portsmouth Ferry, where I met a very nice black dog, and the bus station, the ferry and the railway are all in one place, so very convenient indeed. At the NEC, you come off the train, there's a bus station down an escalator or lift, and then over to the right, there's the airport. Not quite there, but if you get on this little monorail, it will take you across to the airport terminal. So there you've got all the transport elements in one place. Now a few of the disappointing stories, the people who couldn't get their transport interchanges together. This is Nantwich bus station on a Sunday. The railway station's about a mile from here, and there are no buses running. Well, to be fair, there was a bus running every hour from Chester to Crewe that passed through here, but it started late and it finished early, so I got one in the middle of the afternoon. It could have been one of the last ones to go. Luckily there was something else to look at while I was there, some kind of army vehicle, although the men had just gone for a tea break, so I couldn't ask them about it. And now local to me on the Wirral, this is Birkenhead bus station. This is a bit of an interchange of just buses, because you can come in on a bus from somewhere on the Wirral and go out to somewhere else on the Wirral. The nearest railway station is over to the right, across the road and down a couple of 100 yards, so probably a 5 or 10 minute walk. The other one that's near to where I live is Heswell. A 10-minute bus ride down into Heswell means I can change buses, but as for getting a train from here, well, it's a bit of a walk down there. The other transport story on the Wirral and in Liverpool is the Merseyrail metro trains, the new trains we've been waiting for years. They finally came in early this year. A friend of mine, Alan, came out to have a ride on these trains, still only on the Kirby line, but they'd had a software upgrade the previous night and they were all dead in the water. The other bit of news about the trains on the Kirby line is the line's closed at the moment. Yes, the new station at Kirby is being built. I've showed you that previously, but there was no track between the old Kirby station and the new one. That's now being put down and it should be back in action sometime early in May, hopefully, and those trains will be running again. In the meantime, the new train started running on the Ormskirk line, and there was a reason they wanted to do this, because we've recently had the Grand National and they wanted to be able to show off the new trains on the Ormskirk line, which passes through Aintree. Well, the Argos Habitat recliner is on its way out the door. I've moved into view this chair from Furniture Village. Bought this about 20 to 25 years ago, not sure exactly when. Still going strong, good swivel chair. It reclines if you don't have it too near the wall, and it came with a footstool. And because my feet are right up near the camera, they're going to look huge, so let me not do that. So this is the next solution. I move one of these chairs in, but that's not what I want to do. And thank God for interest-free credit, because I have a new chair on its way. You'll see that later on. Right now you're seeing some young goats or kids in the property next door to Collins in Bulgaria, and starting this month I'm not releasing the whole videos in this Maythorn Monthly. I'm just giving you a sample, not a preview, because it's already been published. So I've been putting out videos throughout the month of April, and this is just a summary of those. The first of which was a look round Bulgaria, a quick look at my old house on the hill to see how that had been going, a bit of shopping around the local shops, and yet another look at Svishtov, this time using the drone. We do like Svishtov and we keep going back there. Another video I released in April on my YouTube channel was based in Leeds, where I found an island which had formed between the canal and the River Aire. I also went to the coast and to a place called Robin Hood's Bay that I first visited in the 70s, and you can see the full version of all these videos by clicking the links at the end of this program. Then we leave Robin Hood's Bay because we got all the interest-free credit sorted and we got the chairs delivered and decided I needed some background behind them. And so we stripped off the wallpaper and the dado rail, got Bob the handyman in to put some wallpaper up, and we created our own background. So it's welcome to Arrow Park Forest. I did think of having a green screen behind me, because you can then sort of superimpose anything you like on that. I could be out at sea in my little chair. But no, we've got to put up with it in the living room. It's going to be filming now and again, but we're going to be sitting here watching TV and eating and drinking most of the time. We don't want a green screen on the wall behind us. So this is real, this is wallpaper, and we first saw it in Poland. We were staying in places in Poland that use this type of mural and decided we liked it. Ordered it from Amazon, and it still came from Poland because that's where Amazon get it from. So an idea we saw in apartments in Poland, we brought it back to the UK, and so have a lot of other people from what I can tell. Let's move on and let's fly high above these trees in the forest. Let's go flying high in the sky. The story of owning this mini drone begins in late 2020 when I'd got totally fed up with the limitations on the number of places I could go to and film, and decided the drone would get me a little bit further out. So First of all, I tried flying it over our own village. I think everybody probably flies high for a while, and dropping down onto a pond in the back garden, which is no longer there. Went to the beach at New Brighton. You can see the full version of this video, of course, on the YouTube channel. I went to the house in Trything we were renovating and took wonderful pictures of the skip in a caravan. So exciting, I know, but I was experimenting with what it can do. It can fly right up to windmills and lighthouses, and it can fly very low down to the ground, as I proved in a park in Malpas in Cheshire. And much to the amusement of our family, particularly their dog, I managed to take some shots both from the ground and in the air. The Drone Zone in full on YouTube. Moving on, let's take a train trip on the London Overground.
The next station is Crystal Palace, our final stop. Change here for National Rail Services. Alight here for the National Sports Centre. Please ensure that you take all your personal belongings with you when leaving the train. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. Thank you for travelling with London Overground.
As we approached on the train, we could see the park through the trees, and we headed for our first coffee break of the day.
My wife was worried, you know. She said, I want to check your bag before you leave. Yeah. Make sure you haven't got a change of clothes and a passport in there.
Yeah.
The person I'm with here is Paul Rowley, a former colleague who's worked for years for the BBC and independent radio. We're both now retired, and I had a little chat with him in the park while we were there. My dad took me to Crystal Palace when I was about 7 or 8 and told me that he'd been 13 when the actual original Crystal Palace burnt down. He was also here in the war, and shrapnel was falling all over the place around him, but he managed to survive that. At the time, our family lived in Brixton, which isn't that far from here. You can see the full interview that I had with Paul Rowley, which wasn't that long, so don't worry, but it does discuss the musicians and the concerts and the festivals and so on that have been held at the park. And if I tell you there are dinosaurs in the park, I'm not talking about the two of us, although we may well be dinosaurs of the radio industry. There are actual dinosaurs in the park, and you'll see those in the video as well. So that's our new Maythorn Monthly for this month. We've ended up in Burton on the Wirral. This is the Bluebell Woods. Came here last year and it was warmer, I'm sure it was. Today, spitting with rain, we're protected a bit by these tall trees, and I'm just about to go off and leave the country. So you may have noticed I spent a lot of time indoors this month and hiding in a lighthouse on a misty day. Well, oh, you haven't seen that yet? So here's a little bit of the lighthouse to play out as we head off to Bulgaria, and I think you'll be seeing a lot of that country next month on the Maythorn Monthly.